Secretary Mayorkas, thanks. It's a long day again, as I mentioned, so I appreciate your time to be able to engage on this. I do want to be able to follow up. For the chairman, we were talking before about some of the facts that get behind the plan as well. You said you're not going to publish everything. Senator Rosen had asked if we could do a classified briefing. I think it's a great idea, so all of us can get a chance to be able to dig in the facts behind this and to be able to walk through that. That'd be very helpful in the days ahead to be able to walk through whether it's you or whether it's your team, because there are a lot of things that are missing. So let me give you one issue that came out on the plan as I walk through the plan. In your plan that you lay out, it says that in the executive summary that DHS will detain single adults when appropriate. So that's in your executive summary. We'll detain single adults when appropriate. When you actually go through the plan, there's no details on what that means for when appropriate. It's just in the executive summary. So can you help me understand the when appropriate you're going to detain single adults?
Senator Lankford, the detention capacity does not meet the numbers that we are encountering, and that is a challenge that has been experienced by administration after administration. And so we have to take a look at smart and effective enforcement and how we should use detention authorities to have the greatest public safety impact. In the criminal justice system, in which I worked for 12 years, detention was used, number one, if no condition or combination of conditions can ensure the safety of the community, or no condition or combination of conditions could ensure the individual's future appearance in proceedings. Those criteria would apply here, given the disparity between the number of individuals who are eligible for detention and the detention capacity that we have.
Okay,
and detention has been misused in the immigration system for many years.
I get that. So here's my challenge with that, and this is just you and I have talked multiple times on this. My challenge on that is you say detention is used when you're not sure if they're going to show up for hearings. The vast majority of individuals that we're releasing out are not showing up for hearings. They're not showing up. We can show that statistically, not recent. We can walk back through for a long period of time. The second part about this is, right now, last time I was down in Rio Grande Valley, just a few months ago at this point, the last time I was there, talking to some of the Border Patrol, they were expressing their frustration that they had actually picked up some individuals that were wearing camouflage that told them they were in the Nicaraguan military, and within 24 hours, those individuals had been released. There were single adult males who admitted they're in the Nicaraguan military, wearing camouflage, but they were released into the country. There was a lot of frustration. And on the detention side of it, in the budget that you actually requested, you requested 5,000 fewer ICE beds and 2,500 fewer family detention units. So it's hard for me to process when you're saying we're limited on space, but literally your budget asks for even less space, and we got this large number of individuals that are not showing, and single adult males that clearly could be a risk here. So all three of those I'm trying to be able to figure out based on what you just said.
Because Senator, actually I would respectfully disagree. The data evidences the majority of people show up for their hearings, especially when they're represented by counsel, because the system is extraordinarily complex. The percentage of people who do not show up there for their hearings are often misinformed about their obligations and responsibilities, are not necessarily intentional absconders. I believe that the appearance rate is over 85% for those who are not represented. And the fact of the matter is, in our system, we have misused detention for many years.
But you requested 5,000 fewer beds for single adults and 2,500 fewer for family units. So is there a reason for that?
Because we are increasing our use of alternatives to detention, and we are using detention when it is a public safety imperative or an imperative to ensure the continued appearance of individuals in immigration enforcement proceedings.
So let's do a couple of things with this. I'm going to have you just follow up with some questions for the record. And that is this number of people that actually show up for the hearings, because I've seen a number very, very different than that individuals that are actually showing up for hearings on this. I understand with counsel versus without counsel, but we have 1.5 million people that the court has actually ordered them a final order of removal, and they're not being removed on that. But then there's a lot of folks, obviously we don't know from the past year, because they were given either 6 or 8 years to be able to show up for a hearing. So we won't know for 6 or 8 years if they actually show up for that hearing. That's a whole different issue. I do want to follow up, and I see the time of this. I'm going to honor this. I do want to follow up because DHS has vehemently disagreed with the DOD Inspector General on the 28 individuals that were Afghan refugees that came through that we've lost track of, that also had shown up as a positive for the improvised explosive device list from DOD, that those individuals, we don't know where they are now. They're in the country somewhere. We understand that number could be as high as 50, and we want to be able to get information. DHS has said we vehemently disagree with that. I want to know what is the answer to that, because at this point, we just have a statement that we've got 28, maybe up to 50 people that had IED fingerprints, but they're in the country somewhere.